All right, we are back with part two of our series out of this amazing little vintage, crazy spiritual book that I found at a thrift store called How to Make Your Life Work or Why Aren't You Happy? And this is the book you've been waiting for. Amazing little book. We went over the first few chapters in the last video, and now we're going to go through some more, and it's really about to get good, so stay tuned. Let's get right into it. You've kept yourself in a tizzy trying to make it in life by getting people and situations to fit your inner programs of security, sensation, and power, pride, prestige, ability to manipulate and control. Sorry, we're outside and there is a lot of people cutting down trees in our neighborhood for some reason. I don't get it. They weren't causing anyone any harm, but that's what you're hearing in the background is a bunch of guys with chainsaws climbing up in trees, cutting down, well, beautiful trees actually. My wife's actually very upset about it, but people do what people do. Okay, it says, My, how you've tried. And you've got a little guy here trying to put the puzzle pieces of his life together. The way in which you try to solve one problem in your life usually creates the next problem in your life. Lonely? Your rational mind might suggest that you need more money so that you can attract friends and lovers into your life. You switch to a better paying job. Now you have added business worries. So your business worries keep you from relaxing and enjoying friends and lovers. Do you have an ulcer yet? And then you've got this amazing little illustration. This guy just trying to make his life work by changing the outside circumstances. Just doesn't really work that way. When you work hard to acquire something to make you happy and you get it, do you then worry about losing it or damaging it? Will it ever become obsolete? Wouldn't you like another one, a bigger one, a better one? And then we've got another picture here of a guy just running on this endless treadmill, just sweating his life away, trying to make his life better. Do you really want to know how to get the world outside of your head to harmonize with the world inside? It's so simple. Instead of wearing yourself out trying to change the people and situations in your life, just concentrate on changing your addictions, your demands and expectations, your absolute necessities. This is the only way to consistently get the outside and the inside to harmonize together. It is impossible to have enough money or power to change the outside world to consistently fit your inner addictions and demands. Billionaires and emperors never succeeded in finding happiness by changing the world. Look at Napoleon. Look at Hitler. They couldn't do it. They tried like no one else in history, but they still couldn't do it. The outside world can never give you enough. If you are programmed to always want something you don't already have or more of what you do have, if you always want more, you will never have enough. We've got a nice little illustration here. If you are free from addictions, you can still have mild preferences. You can prefer that something happen a certain way, but if it doesn't happen, you still remain happy because it is not a condition for your happiness. If it does happen, fine. The game is to set things up in your head so that either way, you can't lose. That sounds amazing. If you can set the programming in your head to where you just can't lose no matter what, that sounds pretty amazing. It never occurs to most people that this simple solution is the only way to do it. We've got a little illustration here of this light bulb going off, which that's happening to me as I'm reading this book, and I'm hoping it is for you as well. Let's view all this with a little perspective. It's easier to change your programming than to change people and situations to continuously fit your programming. Those patterns which create demands and expectations are called addictions. But can I ever try to change the outside world? Sure, just use loving communication, but don't be addicted to someone or something changing. If they can flow with your gentle, loving communication, then you can change people and situations in a way that does not have any backlash to create unhappiness in your life. But your loving communication must be made with vibrations which indicate that you accept and love them unconditionally, regardless of whether they do what you prefer or not. They must feel completely free and not experience any kind of pressure from you, either subtle or gross. Check this out. Little guy here holding two guns with hearts around them. And if your loving communication does not produce change, you still remain happy because you are not addicted to the results of your actions. Well, that's a big one. Let's read that again. And if your loving communication does not produce change, you still remain happy because you are not addicted to the results of your actions. You view life as a game and are not obsessed with winning or losing. You simply enjoy playing. If you are not addicted to winning, there is no way you can ever create the experience of loss. Wow. Higher consciousness means enormous flexibility. You become a master at accepting what was previously unacceptable. Emotional acceptance does not necessarily mean that you have to go on someone else's trip in the game of life. It just means that you don't get uptight with their trip, no matter what their trip is. You realize that it is okay for them to do their thing, even though you may not want to be involved in doing it yourself. That's huge right there, especially in the times we're living in now. You realize that it's okay for them to do their thing, even though you may not want to be involved in doing it yourself. Wow. Boy, I wish the president could address the nation and just read that right there. Can you imagine what kind of changes would happen? So now you know how to make your life work. Instead of continually striving and fighting to change and manipulate the outside world to fit your inner programming, you just learn higher consciousness techniques that make you a master at changing your inside programming so that it always harmonizes with the here and now situation in the outside world. It doesn't have to coincide, but it must harmonize. Hopefully I'm harmonizing with these chainsaws that are going off in the background here. Jeez. There are no shoulds or shouldn'ts as far as the outside world is concerned. It is the way it is. Don't waste your energy regretting what is here and now, thinking that it should be different. Only your programming creates shoulds and shouldn'ts. In reality, they do not exist. You know, that's really wild to think about. Should and shouldn'ts don't really exist in reality. It's just our programming that makes us think, oh, we should be doing this, or oh, we shouldn't be doing that, or those people shouldn't be doing that. Those people should be doing this. And all that is our inner programming. We think certain things should be a certain way, or certain things shouldn't be a certain way. But what if we really could set up in our minds a program that just allowed us to accept everything that is? That's what Ram Dass used to speak about all the time, just being here now, not rejecting and refusing everything that is. You just accept it as it is. And it doesn't mean you can't help. It doesn't mean you can't try to change things for the better. It's just like what we just read in here. but you use loving communication. And sure, you would prefer if things were different, but it's okay if they're not different. And that's what true inner peace is. I think this is what the Bible is talking about when it says godliness with contentment is great gain. You're just content with what you have. You're grateful for just the way life is here and now. You're not rejecting it. You're not refusing it. It's just the way it is. And if you can program your mind to be okay with the way it is, you're going to be happy. We need to try to stop constantly changing the outside world, like these chainsaws. It's a perfect example. I'm sure you all can hear them going off in the background. There is this amazing, beautiful tree right across the street from us. I mean, amazing. My wife and I would sit every morning and look out our living room window, drinking our coffee and having our regular morning spiritual discussion. And we would look at this beautiful tree. And right now it's covered with orange and red and yellow leaves. But we had some new people move into the house across the street. And that tree has been there for probably hundreds of years. It is huge. And they're scared because they're not from Oklahoma. They're from Massachusetts. They're scared that a tornado here in Oklahoma is going to knock that huge tree down and crush their house. They're fearful on the inside. Their programming is a programming of fear that maybe that tree will fall. Even though it's been there for hundreds of years and it's never fallen, they're afraid that it's going to fall on their house when a big windstorm comes. And so what are they doing? They hired people with chainsaws and ladders and ropes. They're climbing way up in this tree, totally cutting off all these beautiful branches, and they're removing this tree that has been so beautiful and like such a blessing to just look at. It's been a beautiful view for years. But they're afraid on the inside, so they're changing the outside to try to quench the fear that's on their inside. They're trying to change the outside world to line up with their inside world. But that's not how you do it. You change the inside world first. Change comes from the inside out. And that's real change. There's no reason to be afraid of anything. That tree across the street is not going to fall on their house, but because they're afraid, they're doing something to try to change it. But then there's always going to be something else that they're afraid of, because that's how it works. It's a program of fear. Instead of just raising in consciousness that I'm okay, everything is okay, that tree is beautiful, it's not going to hurt us, God is going to take care of me and make sure I'm protected and safe, that's the way it should be done. But instead, they're destroying a beautiful tree. So that's all I'm saying. The main point of this video is that change comes from the inside out. Change your inner world. Change your consciousness to just be here now and accept what is. That's all I've got for you for today. Once again, the book is How to Change, well, it's actually How to Make Your Life Work, or Why Aren't You Happy? This is the book you've been waiting for. A book from 1974. It's really just incredible. I think there's a few copies of this on Amazon and eBay that you can pick up for like $7. I found this one for 50 cents at a thrift store in a tiny little town here in Oklahoma. But it's just been an amazing book. We're already halfway through it, and the next few videos we're going to really get into the techniques of how to change your inner programming. So stay tuned. Have a great day. I'll see you on the next video.